What's up, guys? Just driving home from work at the moment, and I thought I'd make a little video. Had some thoughts on my mind, and thought it'd be a good opportunity to just have a little bit of a talk while I've got another 10 minutes or so before I get home. The thing I was really thinking about kind of today or this morning while I was at work, apologies by the way if the light kind of goes back and forth. The sun's in a weird angle today. But yeah, one of the things I was thinking about is that it doesn't really cost anything to be nice, to be kind to others, to live your life in a way where you're not constantly walking around with your head down, your metaphorical earphones in, kind of blocking out the world and all the people around it. Kind of you might have like a chip on your shoulder. The world hasn't been kind, so why should I be kind to the world type of mentality. But I think ultimately having that kind of a mindset, it doesn't do you any good in life in general, no matter where you are, no matter whether you're rich or you're poor. And I think it really just, it doesn't cost anything to just be kind to people. Even if those people that you're being kind to don't necessarily maybe deserve it in your mind, you'll always find that taking the kind route, the understanding route, it pays dividends, man. I see it myself with how I interact with everyone at my workplace. I like to say good morning and ask everyone how they're doing whenever I see them. And I mean, most of the time I'll get replies back. I'll say, oh hey, they'll be like, hey, you going, Mike? Oh yeah, my day's not too bad. It's a small thing. It's not something that that necessarily makes a huge impact at the time, or at least you might not think it does. But at the end of the day, it's 100% worth it. Because if you live your life in a way where, you come in the morning, let's say whatever job you work at, whether it's in the office, whether it's wherever you are really, but you come in the morning, you kind of thinking about the rest of the workday and how horrible it may be, and it kind of poisons the rest of your day, because you're inside this workplace and you're hating everything and everyone, and you're not comfortable in your own body either. You're not comfortable in your environment really, and more than that, you feel disconnected from people because you're not interacting with anyone. You're coming in the morning, you're essentially just doing your job, and this obviously doesn't apply if you work in by yourself or you have your own business and things like that. I get that that's probably different, but if you're in a workplace where you have a bunch of people around you kind of thing, you're in a workplace kind of thing, there's lots of people around, it pays to kind of just get to know the people around you, to just have a kind attitude, to help people out if they need it with small things. There's a lot of times where, because I do cleaning at my job, there's a lot of times where I do things that I don't necessarily have to do. It's not exactly part of the job description, but I do it anyway because I know at the end of the day it's just going to help everyone in general. Like if I see extra bits of rubbish outside in the parking lot, or people are leaving shit in trolleys, or they've left something behind, I'll kind of go out of my way to pick it up and clean the place up, and take trolleys off the older people so they don't have to walk all the way to the bays. And I don't do it because I want compliments off people and I want people to notice. I honestly just do it because I feel like it makes me feel better and it makes my day better. It just brightens your whole world, really, I feel like. And I'm not trying to be like a like a Mother Teresa type figure or anything like that. But really, at the end of the day, I do really think that, it's one of those things that really really helps you realize that we are kind of all in this together. We're not just separate entities that are kind of just living our own lives and nothing's connected. It's like there's a lot to be thankful for in this life, and by being kind to other people and just in general, it kind of helps you realize that other people are trying to get through their days too. And if you can go through, your life in general, but at your workplace too, if you can go through those days and just make small connections with people, I think that's really what it's about. It's about making those small connections with people. It may seem meaningless in the moment, just saying a simple, hey, how you going? You might see someone looking a bit down, and sometimes you might see someone looking a bit downtrodden, or, they might just be how they look. They might be having a good day, but they might just look that way. And you might say something like, hey, how you going, or whatever, and you won't get a reply. You might not get anything. They might just ignore you like you never existed in the first place. But don't let that discourage you from practicing it still, because a lot of the times people will respond positively to that, and they'll respond positively to you, and it'll make you in general just a more likable, affable, if that's the word, affable I think is the word. It'll make you a likable, more affable person, which I believe will pay dividends just in your life in general, and it can even open up new opportunities for you. You might have a conversation with somebody that you never would have had a conversation with, all because you just took the time to give a quick hello and ask how their day was, or maybe how their weekend was. You'll find out some new information. Oh, I did this on the weekend. I went to this place. Have you ever been to this place? No, I haven't. Oh, okay, you should try it out. They've got this. And then you learn about a new place that you can go to with your girlfriend or just by yourself. Like you learn a lot about just the world in general and people just from asking those small questions and from just being kind, from helping people out. There might be a time where, let's say someone's, it's happened a few times in my work where someone might have a trolley full of some rubbish, and they hit something and they drop half the rubbish on the ground, and you can see they're all flustered trying to pick it up, and a lot of the time people are good in general, I believe, and they will help, but sometimes there might be a bunch of people around and none of them lift a finger. But if you're that one person that kind of goes, regardless of what you've got on your own plate, if you say, I'm just going to help this person out, I'm going to help pick up their rubbish, it'll make their day go, like it'll help make it quicker for them to get the rubbish back. Essentially, you're just helping them out, and you're not expecting anything, but sometimes when you're not expecting things, that's when they happen, and you could strike up a convo with that person. It could be a girl that you might like or you might fancy, and you help her do that one thing, and she kind of looks at you different and goes, wow, this dude actually kind of took the time out of his day to kind of help me, even though I could have done it by myself, but he cared enough to actually help and have a conversation with me. God, actually, he's a bit more attractive than I thought. Like, all these things kind of just help in general. That's why I think it goes back to what I think is the core message. Is like, it doesn't cost anything to be kind to people. It really costs very little. But unfortunately, there still is a lot of people in the world today that operate on the assumption that they should get something out of it. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna. Yeah, so people operate on that. assumption. Like, you know, why would I do anything for somebody if they're not going to, you know, do something for me in return? Or what's the point? You know, and really, the point is that you're helping out your fellow man or your fellow woman. You know, you're doing unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And if you live your life not helping others, not being kind, coming in with a shit attitude, you know, not saying good morning to anyone, kind of ignoring people when they do say good morning to you, if that is you and you're somehow watching this video, I would recommend try changing that attitude. Like, obviously you don't have to do what I say. I'm some random dude in Australia. You'll never meet me in person, more than likely. But if I can give a piece of advice, I really would give that piece of advice. Just try change the attitude and see how life treats you in return, you know? I'm not saying magically it's going to solve all your problems. Like, it's not going to make you a bunch of money necessarily. It could, depending on what field you're in. But for me, you know, I've lived my life this way for most of my life. It's just how I was brought up. And I'm definitely not rich. In fact, I'm probably the most broke at this current point in my life at 30 years old than I have been previously. But it's not stopping me from still being kind to others, you know. And I really think it's almost like a bit of a cheat code in this life because, you know, unfortunately, while there definitely are kind people in the world, I feel like there's less and less these days. People are a bit more disconnected. So you'll really stand out if you practice that. So yeah, look, this is just a little thought I had. I was probably a bit rambly during this video, but just something I was kind of thinking about and wanted to share. Like, it costs nothing to be kind, so try to practice a bit more of that. You know, just say hi, good morning to people. You know, your cashiers, the people at the checkout, the service people, anyone in general. Just give them a friendly hello, a smile. And you'll brighten some people's day, and you'll also find your own day feels brightened as well. So yeah, but other than that, I hope anyone out there watching, you have a fantastic day and night, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.